So, finally, some fantastic news. As you're most probably aware, Lucy Connolly has been freed from prison. So, late last week, Lucy Connolly was released from her custodial sentence, having served 40% of her sentence, which is the minimum period required before somebody can be paroled. I think she is still under license for the remainder of her 31 months, but the fantastic news is that she is finally released. And, I think a lot of people were expecting that she would go to ground, be very quiet, regroup a little bit, spend time with her family. But no, she came out swinging, immediately giving interviews. And if you haven't seen them, check out the interview. You can find it on YouTube with on Dan Wootton's Outspoken channel, which I believed was held the day following her release, and the interview with Alison Pearson of The Telegraph. Fantastic interviews, and really show a side of Lucy Connolly that I think will surprise a lot of people. What comes across in these interviews is just how incredibly articulate, intelligent, thoughtful, considerate of all the aspects of the issues today she is. Just fantastic interviews. And I think that in all of this, what comes through is that she's not out for vengeance. She's not angry she's angry, but she doesn't hold any animosity towards the prison guards. In fact, she speaks very highly of them, except for one incident where she was very physically abused, for lack of a better term, by a number of guards she was not familiar with during one specific incident. But she speaks very kindly of the prison guards, of the other women that she was in prison with. So great interviews to watch. So most definitely watch them. But I think in all of this, I think the person who needs to be really worried is Keir Starmer. The police who, as you'll see in the interviews, who doctored evidence, withheld evidence, changed her statements to fit or to aid the success of the prosecution against her. You'll see that she maybe didn't receive the best legal advice. She took and she acted according to what she had to work with. Her objective was to get home as soon as possible to her daughter. She made a deal which maybe in hindsight wasn't the best one she could have made, but she made a deal which basically saw her going immediately to prison. But I think Keir Starmer really has to be worried now. I think in releasing in Lucy Connolly's release, there has been unleashed potentially a very, very powerful voice against the Labour establishment. And what's really interesting too is that the announcement that just following her release, the White House wants to meet with her, or officials from the White House are going to sit down with Lucy Connolly and have a discussion. Now, we've already seen President Trump make certain comments that he's very worried about the free speech, the freedom of speech in the United Kingdom, and the State Department's reports criticizing the lack of free speech in the UK. So now, following that, the White House wants to meet with Lucy Connolly. I think this has started something I don't think Keir Starmer was really fully prepared for. I think really at the end of the day, he would have been very happy if she had stayed in prison for years. So we're going to see something come out of this, and rightly so. She was sentenced very unfairly. I mean, even today, I'm looking on my other screen here at the BBC talking about her release, being incredibly disingenuous, saying how in Lucy's tweet on X, where she urged her followers to set fires to hotels housing asylum seekers. She did nothing of the kind. She did nothing of the kind. Don't forget the very critical 4 words that she had at the end of her tweet, "For all I care." She was not urging anybody to do anything of the kind. And in fact, her tweets later on, when the riots did start, when the protests did start, she was urging people to calm down and to step back a little bit. And let's not forget too, I'm sure you're all aware that she did delete the tweet. She took it down, but somebody had copied it and reposted it, and it went viral. But check out Dan Wotton's interview, Alison Pearson's interview on the Telegraph. Dan Wotton's on his channel Outspoken. Fantastic interviews. Finally, great to hear Lucy Connolly's story in her own words and not just reported or misreported by certain aspects of the mainstream media. So this will be a story to follow. What are your thoughts, on her release? Is there something we should be looking forward to? Will something come out of this? Will she be a pain in Starmer's side? I don't think this bodes well for his government or for the narrative or for the larger issues. So let's see what happens. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't already, guys, I would really appreciate you subscribing to the channel, and if you like this video, giving it a thumbs up. And look after yourselves. Hope you had a great weekend, and I'll catch you on the next video.